Hello and welcome to the Kuribros, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime recap podcast. We are your hosts, best of friends, best of podcasters. I'm Phoenix and he's Andy. How you doing, Andy?
No matter what, I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. I just watched episodes of Friendship and it makes me feeling very Kuribro today, so let's get the broing going.
Before we get going with our broing, we have to tell people what happened last time because God knows someone out there is not watching all of these back to back.
Well, if you aren't watching, last episode we decided to cover chronologically the first final matches of the Duelist Kingdom, which are My Valentine versus Yugi Moto and Joey versus Bandit Keith. And if you didn't miss the episodes, spoiler alerts, Yugi and Joey both won. So
Yeah,
we're there.
who would have thought?
Yeah, the protagonists of our show won their duels. Crazy.
Now, I'm not saying this finale should be My Valentine versus Joey, but it should.
And yeah, the rematch of the century. And then My Valentine should be utterly whooping Pegasus's ass.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. He'd have no chance.
No chance whatsoever. She would use her aroma tactics on him, and he'd be like, what the fuck? Actually, that might kind of work a little bit. Well, no, if he's reading minds. I was going to say if she doesn't know the cards. But, oh well.
Anyway, My Valentine, best character. But, unfortunately, we're not going to talk about Mai this episode, or any more this episode. Instead, we're going to be covering the two matches that happened, which were Joey and Yugi as the Duelist Kingdom finals, and then we will be beginning the battle between Yugi and Pegasus. So, spoiler alert for how the first match goes.
Well, and this is the thing I kind of want to talk about with this. I think I touched on it a little bit last episode. This doesn't happen in the manga, this duel. I don't know if Takahashi just didn't want to have that kind of face-off yet, or just, the reasoning they give is that they don't want to show Pegasus any more of their strategy by dueling each other, because that feels like that'd give him even more of an advantage, even though he has two of the biggest advantages in the entire show. So I don't know if it was either just like time constraints, or they just didn't want to do the match against the two best friends and have that outcome be whatever the outcome is, or whatever have you. But everything with the Joey versus Yugi in this Duelist Kingdom arc is completely filler, anime only. So Phoenix is going to take the most of it, but that's kind of how it kind of goes with that. Basically, just Joey puts his faith in Yugi, gives him the card that Yugi gave him, and he's like, I will take on your burdens for you. Let's go. Fuck you, Pegasus. Let's rock. Also, it's Yugi. He was gonna fight Pegasus no matter what.
Right, the show is named after him.
It is? Oh.
Yeah. Yugi. Oh.
Oh, Yugi. No. Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's what I said. Oh.
Oh.
It's like the walkie-talkie. You gotta say over. Over.
Over? Over. Yes, over.
So, because we're not over, we're beginning, I'm going to tell you all about how a young boy was robbed of victory, betrayed by a friend, someone he trusted, Joey Wheeler. The episode begins with Joey and Yugi both at opposite ends of the dueling arena. And if you can, looking at their positioning on the field, Yugi is on the blue side, Joey's on the red side. Maya was also on the red side, and so was Bandit Keith, so that can kind of tell you how this match is going to go already.
I think every single person who was on the red side was the losing side of this season. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, in the tournament at least, except for Pegasus, he beat Kaiba. So I guess blue is supposed to be viewed as like the challenger side.
I don't know, because who would be the? I don't know. Well, it's kind of arbitrary. Maybe red's bad, blue's good, in a visual sense.
Could be. I do want to take this brief moment to talk about something unrelated, but something that bothered me in the Pokemon games is whenever you're doing a gym battle, it'll say like, oh, you're challenged by the gym leader. And like, no, I came here, I challenged them. Say, I challenged the gym leader.
Yeah, fuck off. They didn't come to me. I came to them. I'm challenging them, and I'm whooping their asses. Yeah. Unless it's that one with that Miltank, then I'm getting rolled like 6 different times.
I never had a problem with her, and I never understood why people were so bothered by it.
I did. I had a problem.
Yeah, just kill her first.
I tried. Very much tried. Took me a while.
Anyway, back to what I was just talking about. The friendship squad is watching on from the stands, with Taya not knowing why they're dueling if they're best friends, and Tristan tells her that it's because they're best friends that they're dueling. Which, I get it, but I think in these episodes I didn't really like what the friendship squad was there for, because they just kind of repeat that dialogue in different forms a bunch of times.
Yeah, I actually did make a note while I was watching these that I actually love Pegasus's commentary, at least in the dub, just a lot more. It's like the whole formula is like Tristan asks a really dumb question. It's almost always Tristan, and Bakura is the one who schools him. I prefer to hear the line delivery of the English voice actor of Pegasus and his banter over these two people going like, why do you play a trap card? He plays this trap card because this is the test to show he's a real duelist and whatever. Fuck off. It was better. It's like, Yugi boy, you're trapped now by your best friend. How are you going to get out of this one? I'm better. I have a Millennium Eye. That was like the whole episode, or the whole duel was just him just saying that shit. It was awesome.
Pegasus was a lot of fun for me in this one too. He threw out a bunch of lines in English, which were Seth is going like, "Oh, it's beautiful, wonderful, terrific."
I gotta like when we're all said and done this, I'm gonna finally watch the sub and I'm gonna enjoy whatever they do in it. Hopefully,
yeah, Pegasus is always great.
I think so.
I sure hope nothing happens to him at the end of the series.
Ugh.
So the match begins, but before it begins properly, Joey thanks Yugi for all the support he's given him throughout the tournament. As the match starts, Yugi goes first, playing Celtic Guardian, and Joey responds by playing Guilty of the D Knight, attacking and destroying it. Yugi then plays Gaia the Fierce Knight and counterattacks over Guiltia. And now Joey starts playing defensive by playing out Armored Lizard. Yugi plays Summoned Skull, using it to destroy the lizard, and Bakura comments that this is Joey's strategy, getting Yugi to play his bigger monsters sooner. Joey then plays his Flame Swordsman and uses his Shield and Sword combo to make Flame Swordsman's attack points now stronger than Summoned Skull's defense points after they are swapped around. If he wanted to do this more efficiently, he would have played Sword and Shield and then played Flame Swordsman. So Flame Swordsman would have still had its full 1800, but that 200 points does not make a huge difference. He attacks and destroys the Summoned Skull. And knowing what's happening, I do like that Joey is setting up his win condition early on by getting Yugi to play Summoned Skull. We'll get to that now. It's part of his victory soon. But I do like that it is set up immediately, and if you know what's coming, you can see it coming.
Yeah, I feel like, so I watched these episodes with my wife, and I was very kind of able to predict all their movements and their strategy. I remember I remember at one point literally going, so if Joey does this, Yuki can do this, this, and this, and he'll probably pull it out this next turn. And I was right for the most part.
Yeah. Yugi's counterattack to the Flame Swordsman destroying his monster is to summon Curse of Dragon and then use Polymerization to fuse it and Gaia into Gaia the Dragon Champion, which attacks the swordsman. The action then takes a pause here for the Peanut Gallery to have an aside about Yugi and Joey being true duelists, Taya still not getting why they're doing so hard, and Pegasus loving what is happening. Beautiful. Remembering this is a show to promote a card game, the duel resumes with Joey playing Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then using his Grave Robber card to steal Yugi's Summoned Skull, and then using his Copycat card to copy Polymerization.
So, it was actually interesting. So, something I was thinking about that was interesting about this duel is it's not canon, right? So, they could have done whatever they wanted, played whatever cards they wanted, however have you. Because, like, I can at least forgive some of the plays and how the cards are used if it's like, okay, this is what the manga did. Because I think at that point, either the cards weren't really popular or they weren't even really like realized to be like a trading card game. Gotta really look into that timeline one day. I'm a professional. But I feel like he could have done something a little different in the sense of why didn't he play like Monster Reborn, like draw like Monster Reborn to like get Summoned Skull back and then have Grave Robber and like throw out the Copycat card kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were different ways it could have been done that would have been how the actual cards worked.
Yeah, it would have made more sense. Like, I understand. I watched this episode, and as you'll as the viewers probably watched, hopefully, that this is just basically the best of with their plays. Like every single play they've made were like big plays they made throughout the Duelist Kingdom. Gaia the Dragon Champion, Guilty of the Night coming out, a few more moves later, because how about even going like Red Eyes Black Dragon fusing with Summon Skull to become Red Eyes Black Skull Dragon. Like these are all big moves that were happening throughout the series, so it's a little recycled, but it's also kind of like that best of, kind of showing what they're both doing. Regardless, I still think you could still at least do the plays correctly, or you can say he is Monster Reborn. He may not have shown it, but who's gonna fucking care?
Right.
I don't know. That's just my 2 cents with it.
Understandable issues to bring up with it, because it's not like they don't have the footage or the stocks of like, oh, here's the Monster Reborn card instead of the copycat or what have you.
Yeah, Yugi plays Monster Reborn later. Spoilers.
Yeah.
I don't know. You both can have it.
Anyway, monsters are fused and the Black Skull Dragon comes out. Love to see that, dude. With the Black Skull Dragon on board with its 3,200 attack points, it obliterates Gaia and swings the duel in Joey's favor. The episode ends with a shot of Yugi and Joey imposed over the castle while a storm is raging overhead. Good imagery.
It was pretty good imagery. And there was also, we didn't get to really talk about it. I put on it earlier, but okay, I actually have to ask, did they have the musical montage in
Sadly, they did not have No Matter What.
No Matter What. What'd they do? Did they do anything?
There was something very briefly at the beginning with them thinking about who they're dueling for. Yugi thinking about Grandpa, Joey thinking about his sister, but
Yeah,
that was it. It was very short.
So they just got on the field, and they just started dueling. They didn't, because that's when they have the No Matter What, is when they're getting ready to duel, and they literally pad like a good 2 minutes for that song, and just a montage of every scene they've been in together throughout the series so far. They just kind of said fuck it with that and just said, okay, we're gonna just go in with the duel, and they didn't pad the time in any way.
Yeah, like the episode opens, there's a brief shot of the water to remind us all that Bandit Keith was dropped into the sea, and then they're at the arena starting.
Interesting. Don't know why they did then the 4Kids dub. I don't think it was really necessary, but
maybe they don't have butt rock in Japan.
I don't know. They definitely have to have butt rock in Japan, some sort of way. I don't know, but it was that's very interesting. No matter what.
It's very good.
It's so silly. I remember I actually somewhere, and I hope I still have it, I did have a Yu-Gi-Oh soundtrack I got from like Walmart or something that had that
music
song on
to
there.
duel by.
Maybe it might be that. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was the one that had all the songs. It has Kaiba's "You're Not Me." It has Pegasus's "Face Up, Face Down."
It has like some sort of rap, like a couple rap songs on it. I don't remember. But it was something I really listened to heavily when I was like 9.
Gotta love those Walmart hyperfixations.
Yeah, right. It was the time, that was when Yu-Gi-Oh was popular. It was the early 2000s. Like, how could you not?
Yeah, back when they marketed Yu-Gi-Oh to kids.
And now
they have scalpers out here making sure that no child will ever buy anything.
Never.
Sad. The next episode, episode 34, opens up with Pegasus loving the duel, commenting that it's Yugi's tactics versus Joey's power. To me, it felt like the opposite, because Joey was the one who was using actual combos and like baiting Yugi. So, disrespect.
Yeah, a little bit. This is what I really liked about the duel. I like this duel, and I know I love that it's filler. I like this duel much more than I liked Joey's previous duel with Bandit Keith.
Yeah, this is a much better showing of how far how far Joey has come, especially because it's against the person who helped push him to be as good as he is. I was about to say who taught him, but that was Grandpa.
Well, depends on what you're reading. Because
True.
Yugi did have a bigger part in helping Joey in like before Duelist Kingdom. And I mean, he is kind of teaching him throughout Duelist Kingdom, especially in the beginning there.
Yeah, and yes, very much. Now that I'm thinking about what you're saying, yeah, he did help him. When they're on the boat, he gave him cards that he could use together. He was teaching him during matches like against Mai and such.
Not really Rex, but because that was like a condition. But
There's a condition that I think they violated, in my opinion.
Sure. I mean,
But it's against Rex Raptor, so who cares?
yeah, he's no one's gonna care about him.
The man duels 2.5 times in the whole show, and we remember his name forever.
I think we don't even see him in Battle City except at the very, very beginning, and I'm pretty sure he already lost.
Yeah, but we'll get to Battle City, I don't know, later.
Someday, somehow.
We're going to make it all right, but not right now. Right now, it is Yugi's turn, and he plays the Dark Magician, and combines it with his magical hats to hide it. Joey attacks the hat, but it is empty, so nothing happens. But if he had guessed correctly, he would have won. So Yugi took a dumb gamble here.
Yeah, but it's a gamble that's like never failed him ever. I can't think of any time where like that magical hats Dark Magician combos ever failed him.
Nope, never. Because he's the protagonist, so he can't lose. Unless it's for character development.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Joey also plays Garuzis to bait Yugi into attacking him and revealing where the magician is hiding. Yugi plays another card and puts it under a hat and passes his turn. Not how that works. Joey attacks again, destroying another empty hat. And Joey immediately then goes into another attack with the same monster. So I guess we're supposed to assume that Yugi just full passed his turn, but it wasn't shown.
Again, with the weird turn management in the last few episodes. It's very weird.
The hat he destroyed was hiding the Spellbinding Circle, which attaches to the Black Skull Dragon and weakens it to 2,500 attack points. There was no reason to hide this. Just play the card in the back and then use it when he attacks anyway.
I don't know. I can't tell. These are where the bullshit moves start coming out.
Oh, the bullshit's only gonna get bigger. Just you wait. I have a complaint. Joey then switches Garuzis to defense mode, and on Yugi's turn, he plays the Book of Secret Arts, equipping it to the Dark Magician, making it stronger than the Black Skull Dragon, and destroying it. Joey draws Baby Dragon, and plays it, and setting one card in the back row. Yugi thinks the set card must be Time Wizard, and expects Joey to use his combo that has never failed to summon the Thousand Dragon, so he attacks the Baby Dragon with Dark Magician. But Joey reveals his set card was actually Kunai with Chain, which restrains the Dark Magician. Joey then draws, and this time he drew Time Wizard and decides to use its Time Roulette. And of course, the roulette always works, so the field travels 1,000 years into the future.
Doesn't always work though, because he has failed with it. He failed with it against Bones, I'm pretty sure.
No, he did it against Bones, but they're zombies, so they don't age.
No, I'm pretty sure he failed it. I'm actually like 99% sure he failed it. That was like supposed to be his like turnaround move that he thought he was going to do, and he couldn't do it. That's what leads to him using the shield and sword card and everything.
So I googled, did Time Wizard ever fail? And the first response is, Time Wizard failed only once in the whole anime. And this falling sense is, he deserves that. Let me double check this whole thing. No, I'm seeing other people complaining about stuff that is not relevant to that. Oh, no, you're right. It was against Bones.
Yeah.
And the thing that they're noting here is the only time Time Wizard failed was when Yugi was not there.
Oh, that's interesting. That is true. He was not there at that moment when Time Wizard was activated and failed. So that makes
It'd be very funny if they joined that match like, Joey, use your Time Wizard. I already did. You get shit luck, man.
I don't know
what do you mean it missed? I've never seen Time Wizard fail, Joey. I don't know what to tell you. You get fucked me over. Melted my swordsman.
It's all gone, Yug. I don't know what to tell you.
It's gone. Tits up, Yug.
These zombies about to screw me, Yug.
I'd apologize to the people of Brooklyn, but you deserve some punch downs.
No, they deserve the punch-ups for that accent. That's great. I love their accent.
Yeah, the Brooklyn accent is their major export.
Yes, that's their major export.
So, the duel is sent 1,000 years into the future, and Thousand Dragon is summoned, and the Dark Magician turns into an old man. Joey attacks it, but he is stopped by Makyu, the magical mist. And everyone's going, what the hell just happened? And then Yugi does a big old ass pull, and saying that the Dark Magician has become the Dark Sage due to Time Wizard, and is now a master of magic, and was able to add a spell card to his hand from the deck. While it is true that Dark Sage does allow you to add a spell card to your hand when it's summoned, it is not once per turn, and that also does not mean Yugi would not be able to play it that turn because it would still be in his hand. So bullshit.
Yeah, but you can summon it with the Time Wizard effect, so that's interesting.
Darksage can only be summoned when the controlling player succeeds on the effect of Time Wizard.
Yes.
Which Yugi did not control Time Wizard, so this is more bullshit.
That's true.
On Yugi's turn, he gets Monster Reborn using the Darksage's ability, brings back the Black Skull Dragon, and as he moves to attack, both duelists start crying because they are best of friends, best of duelists. Yugi's attack goes through, and he defeats Joey. It moves on very quickly from the duel field to them being in the hallway after the duel. Joey tries to give the prize money card to Yugi, but he denies it and tells Joey to use it for his sister. Joey cries about this again.
So this is the thing that kind of gets me, I don't know, frustrated is the right word, but kind of just like confused. Because did Joey think that Yugi was just going to pocket the $3 million or however much the money was, the arbitrary amount that Pegasus was willing to give, and just say, fuck you, your sister's going to go blind because you're a loser? Like, did you think his best friend was going to do that? Like, why would, like, he, like, legitimately, like, thought he just lost that money.
I think it may have been more for reminding the audience, because this is intended for a younger audience, to remind them that Joey needs the money for his sister and that Yugi had already decided that Joey was going to be able to have it. If I were to give them the benefit of the doubt for the mistreatment of one Joey Wheeler.
I'd just like to say that when we were getting into, like, watching these episodes, I was ready to kind of pick apart this duel piece by piece and really wreck into it. But I gotta be honest, like, I very much enjoyed this duel. I think this duel did a very, very, very good job at that spirit of the Yujo friendship, really, really well. You talk about filler and like its necessity or its unnecessary additions to an anime, and I think some animes do it better than others. I think there's sometimes that, like, Dragon Ball's had, like, bad and good filler. I can't really speak too much on, like, the Naruto filler, but I know Naruto's famous for a lot of filler, but I'm sure there's good and bad in that as well. There's good and bad in One Piece. Whatever have you, there's going to be good and bad in this Yu-Gi-Oh series that we're going to be, going into. But I think it's nice when you do get a filler episode that, well, it doesn't detract too much from the main story, but it also keeps the spirit of the story intact and doesn't just kind of, like, it isn't just two guys driving around in cars, even though I do love that filler episode of Dragon Ball.
It was a filler in as much as this didn't matter or differed from the source material, but it did serve as a good way to, I'm going to assume they may not have known how much show that they were going to get. It showed us the culmination of the Yujo friendship very well, and like you said before, it was a highlight reel of all their best plays up until now.
Yeah, exactly. So I think probably what this was to pad some episodes so they can make the final duel a little nicer looking, but it still did a pretty good job for what it was, and so I'm happy about that.
There was one animation error I saw where it was after Joey had Black Skull Dragon and Garuzzi's on the field and had already popped one of the hats. They looked down on the duel field and Garuzzi's was not on it.
Interesting. That's gonna happen every once in a while. Sometimes there's just gonna be, like, a bad animation error, especially in that time of the anime world.
Yeah. So before we move on and stop talking about the good times, there's some bad times I gotta talk about in this duel about how Joey Wheeler was robbed.
Okay.
Because I have to be mad on his behalf because he's too much of a good time guy to bring it up.
I do love Joey.
He was outplaying Yugi from the jump. He knew exactly what to do to bait Yugi and just keep one-upping him over and over and over. He manipulated Yugi into giving him the card he would need to summon the Black Skull Dragon, his most powerful card that he's ever used. And I'm going to say that he did not need to try to use Time Wizard to win.
Okay.
When he had Dark Magician locked down with the Kunai Chain, Kunai Chain does two things. First off, it turns opponents' monsters to defense mode. So Dark Magician's now in defense with its, I want to say, 2,000 defense?
2,100.
2,100. And it also buffs one of your own monsters by 500. Garuzzi's, with the Kunai on it, has 2,300 attack, which is higher than Dark Magician's defense. He could have just attacked over it. Yugi would not have had a Dark Sage to give him Monster Reborn, and Yugi would not have had any more big monsters.
So you're saying Joey was robbed, but he misplayed.
Yes, he did misplay. So he got the... At one point in the duel, they say that the reason that they are going all out with their big plays is because of their respect for each other as duelists, which I guess is kind of the explanation for why he would use the Time Wizard when he didn't need to. So I can't be too mad about it if it is hubris getting in the way.
You could also say, or also reason that Joey is not as experienced as Yugi. So while maybe he's grown leaps and bounds, which very clearly he has, I'm not even going to like front. And I've been up to bat for Joey this entire podcast series, and I very much have a much bigger respect for Joey, especially now as we're going through it. You know, it all comes down to one misplay. And this is true, I think, in most card games in general. If you're talking real life, sometimes it just comes down to someone misplays and just the opponent takes advantage of that. So I guess I could see it. I see where you're coming from. And yeah, that would have been the way Joey could have won, or at least kept the advantage up. You know, maybe it did just come down to a misplay, and that's just how you show that like differential for Yugi and Joey.
And all that would be fine were it not for one fact.
Okay.
Yugi gave Joey Time Wizard.
Yeah.
Yugi gave Joey a powerful card that when used against his own Yugi's best monster gives him a stronger monster.
Yugi knew.
Yugi knew. He set him up. The Brooklyn Blonde was doomed from the start. It was rigged from the boat.
Yugi's like, if he ever has to come up against me, I got Dark Sages sitting for this Time Wizard. He's fucked.
And you know that Yami was like, Yugi, give him the Time Wizard. He doesn't know how to duel well, Yugi. He'll have to use it.
He'll have to. He's just say it's a really powerful card, Yugi.
The look on his face will be priceless, Yugi.
That's literally kind of going in the personality of like what the abridged Yugi would do. Or Yami.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes the abridged is right. And sometimes they're bad people.
It's kind of... Yami's especially a bad person in that. It's kind of funny, though.
Yeah. Talking about funny bad people, let's move on to the funniest bad man we got.
I gotta say, especially as we're going through this, I think Pegasus is one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Antagonists just for how cartoony he is.
He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, he's just got this charisma about him that like I don't think kind of goes with the other antagonists. So we're going to be covering several antagonists throughout the series, but like as far as main antagonist goes, we're going to be covering like 4 more after this. There's only 2 more in the manga because the 2 of those are completely filler. But I don't think either of them really touch Pegasus in the terms of charisma. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, they don't dominate a scene the way he does. They don't have the star factor or whatever you want to call it about like just how much fun it's like, oh man, Pegasus is on scene. What's he going to do next?
Like, I'll probably say Bakura overall is my favorite antagonist just for what happens with him and how he kind of plays out. But like, it's in terms of just fun and enjoyment, I really enjoy Pegasus.
Yeah, Pegasus is great. Everyone loves Pegasus. When he's not on screen, people are asking, where's Pegasus?
Where's Pegasus? And well, without further ado, you know, we're kind of finally coming to the end of the Duelist Kingdom in this episode, or starting to. Let's kind of, you know, begin. So I'll start covering the beginning of this Pegasus Yugi rematch, real duel. I don't know what you want to call it, but whatever it's called episode 35, and it covers just about a good portion of chapter 65 up to chapter 67. And it goes as such. We find our spiky-haired lad looking over his deck that was passed down to him by his grandfather. In the manga, we have on chapter 65, we have the whole Joey's forfeiting to let Yugi go against Pegasus, and also the whole Bandit Key thing I talked about last episode where Pegasus gave him a penalty game. This was happening as Pegasus was literally going to the duel arena. And then it goes to where we're at now. Yugi is getting ready for the match we have all been waiting for, the match to get back not only the soul of his grandfather, but also the soul of Seto Kaiba and Mokuba Kaiba. This is undoubtedly the biggest challenge our protagonist has faced yet. Yugi then meets with his friends who give him best wishes for his upcoming match. Then Yami comes out. Yami was already out in the manga, but Yami comes out and enters the duel arena, and we see our main arc antagonist Pegasus follow suit. Yami shouts out to Pegasus that he must not forget that if Yami wins this duel, the souls of Pegasus' 3 victims are set free. Pegasus is shocked by the choice to set Kaiba free, as Yugi and Kaiba are rivals, but he agrees regardless. As they get ready for the match, the cheerleading squad get ready to support by going to get a better view for some reason. But Tristan decides to run off to rescue Mokuba because for some reason the anime thought it was appropriate to do so now as opposed to before, when there was like all this time you could have had this B-plot material, but whatever. Croquet asks for the qualification cards, which Yami shows off. Yami actually has both cards in the manga, which I mentioned before, but in the anime he just shows off the glory of the king's opposite hand. Pegasus then informs Yugi the reason why that card is blank, because if Pegasus wins the match, Yami/Yugi's soul is placed in that card. I don't know if Yugi did lose this duel, that if both souls would get put in the card, or just like Yami, then it would be Yugi and whatever have you. But regardless, someone's soul's getting put in that card if he loses. Joey and Taya are worried for Yugi, but Yami declares that he has no intention to be a part of Pegasus' card collection. Pegasus then reminds the audience via inner monologue of his true goal, which is to take over the Kaiba Corporation. We then see that the big 5 of the Kaiba Corporation are watching the match, awaiting Pegasus' victory. They are actually present in the manga, like in a room, like a I don't know, a room where they're watching in the shadows, and in the anime they are watching via TV broadcast. As we pod time to get to the actual duel, we see Tristan going through the dungeons like he was in the manga, trying to find Mokuba. I'm not going to speak too much on this B-plot. I feel like I've made the appropriate references before, but I will make some notes to go along just so we kind of know where we're all at with things, because I think there's some differences that don't happen in the manga. The final match begins with Yami opening the duel with a face-down card in the back row and a defense position monster. It's face-down in the anime, it's upright in the manga. Although, Pegasus already knows that Beaver Warrior is the face-down monster Yami just played. Pegasus plays a card in the back row as well, and Red Archery Girl in defense mode. Pegasus is aware that Yami's strategy is a Beaver Warrior combo with the Horn of the Unicorn equipped magic card, yet he seems ready for that play anyway. Our protagonist is hesitant on the next move as he's unsure how much Pegasus knows and what he's plotting, but he decides to take advantage anyway and plays the combo to utter failure as Pegasus responds with the trap card Tears of a Mermaid, which weakens Beaver Warrior back to its original 1200 attack points.
I need to remind the audience that Beaver Warrior in the sub is called Louise.
For some reason, because it's not even called Louise in the manga, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's Beaver Warrior's name. Louise the Beaver Warrior.
Louise the Beaver Warrior. I love it. Wish they kept it everywhere else. Either way, Pegasus switches Red Archery Girl into attack mode and destroys Beaver Warrior. Yami has now taken the first blow, and it's only been 2 turns. Yami is taken aback by how powerful Pegasus is. Not only is he the creator of the Duel Monsters card game, he has the Millennium Eye that makes it possible to read his opponent's mind. So, I'd be feeling a little uneasy myself. Yami plays one monster in defense mode and passes the turn. Again, this is one of those things where face down in the anime, upright in the manga. While the duel is happening, Croquet gets a phone call about security catching on to Tristan's shenanigans, while Eva Bakura, who has been acting like regular Bakura, like, you can kind of actually see it. I don't know if you've been able to visually see that, like, even as Eva Bakura is acting like good Bakura, you can kind of see the demeanor kind of change, and also how his dialogue is a little more in-depth, I guess, or just a little bit more know-how on dueling and games in general.
They do give him a little bit of a visual difference where his hair, instead of being more down, it does start to spike out a bit as he does when Evil Bakura is taking over.
Yeah, exactly. I think even his there's something different with like the kind of the eye edges or eye lines.
Like how Yugi's eyes change when he goes from Yugi to Yami. It's doing a bit of that same thing where it gets sharper around the end.
Yeah.
You're like, Bakura, when'd you put on eyeliner? British.
British. But so Eva Bakura is listening in on this, and I don't know how he's able to overhear. I guess it's Millennium Powers or whatever. But
the Millennium Ring has the power of convenience.
Yeah, that seems to be real. Like, my wife was asking me questions about the Millennium items in general and what they're special, like what's so special about them. And I kind of went through all the like powers they have, like other than like, because like you can kind of say the same thing with the Millennium Puzzle. It's the power of convenience, but like the Millennium Eye reads minds. We'll get into like the Millennium Rod and the Millennium.
The Millennium Rod has the power of being a knife.
Yeah, shit like that. Like they all, I think Shoddy has the key and the balance, and they, you know, checks the evil and good, and also checks the soul and things like that. But I think the only thing the Millennium Ring canonically does is look for the other Millennium items, like a dragon radar.
Something about that I noticed in these episodes, which is going to come up shortly after, Bakura will be wandering off looking for Tristan, and he'll use the ring to find him. So I guess the ring can help him find whatever he's looking for, not just other Millennium items.
I guess. I don't know. This is where it's kind of like anime, manga, canon, how are we doing this? So it's a little bit of convenience. Regardless, back to the duel. Pegasus plays Ryuran in defense mode and switches Archery Girl to defense as well. As Yami starts his turn, Pegasus sees through Yami's hand. Literally, they like list out every card he has in his hand and calls them out to Yugi. And that's kind of where we end the episode, as Yami is unsure how to take on a foe like this because he's literally reading him like a book. Oh, and yeah, I guess the guards are closing in on Tristan or whatever. I don't know. Who cares? He did it to himself. But that's where the episode ends. It's an interesting start.
Yami has a redundant line where he's like, not only does Pegasus know the cards I'm going to play, he can also know what I'm thinking. And like, yeah, that's what mind reading does, idiot.
Dummy.
Maybe if you read a book, you would know that.
Stop reading the card text and read a goddamn book.
No one reads the card text. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Reading is cheating.
There is no literal card text if you're watching the English version. But yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, this is it's half the duel, but it's also half. I feel like it's more preparing and also getting into Tristan's B plot. This first one, so not a whole lot going on, but it's it's a start, and we'll kind of actually move on to episode 36, which covers the rest of chapter 68 or 67 and 68. We pick up right where we left off, with Evil Bakura listening in on Croquet directing the guards to find Mokuba, who's being carried by Tristan. Evil Bakura decides to go on and look for the Clueless Wonder. We get back to more important issues with the final match. Pegasus predicts Yami's move as he plays the Spellbinding Circle face down and summons Skull in defense mode. Ryuran is switched to attack, so he can attack Summon Skull, which triggers the Spellbinding Circle card, which traps Ryuran. Pegasus does this whole acting like he's caught a trap time. He's like, oh no, you got me. You've outplayed me. Yami then switches Summon Skull to attack to take out Ryuran, but Pegasus reveals the Trap Displacement trap card, which switches the target for the Spellbinding Circle trap card to Summon Skull instead of Ryuran. Ryuran then easily handles the Summon Skull, which sends Yami's life points down to 1,400 between that and the loss of Beaver Warrior. Joey is frustrated on the sidelines, but Taya reminds him not to give up hope. We go back to Tristan being saved by Evil Bakura as he's getting surrounded. Okay, enough of that. Pegasus then finally plays one of his most powerful cards in the Toon World Magic card. This has turned Ryuran into Manga Ryuran and the Red Archie Girl into Toon Mermaid. Manga Ryuran then destroys the face down card, Giant Soldier of Stone, that Yami placed down a few turns ago. Remember last episode? I just talked about it a few minutes ago. Toon Mermaid is then switched to attack mode as Pegasus ends his turn. Yami is kind of trying to figure out what to do, so he decides he needs to find some sort of weakness within Toon World. So he brings out Celtic Guardian to attack Toon Mermaid. I guess he feels, well, if I attack something with the same, at least I could maybe see if I can destroy that card and I won't lose any life points, which I guess in a way he's right. But as Celtic Guardian tries to make a strike, the cartoon clam that is holding Toon Mermaid catches the attack, and Toon Mermaid then shoots a Toon arrow into Celtic Guardian, destroying it. So Yami thinks about bringing out a stronger card, which Pegasus replies to Yami's inner monologue by saying it is pointless, as Toons cannot be stopped by normal monster attacks, can only be destroyed by Toons, he says. Yami is getting more and more frustrated as the duel goes on, as everything he's tried so far has ended in failure. And this is kind of interesting because this is kind of the first time he's really trying to make the right moves, and every time it's been like utter failure. Like he cannot get ahead. Pegasus then takes his turn by placing two cards face down in the back row and ending his turn. Yami then uses his turn to play a face-down defense monster, which triggers Pegasus' Gorgon's Eye Trap card, which turns Yami's defense monsters to stone. Now, not only does Yami's defense monsters turn to stone, if they get destroyed, half of their defense points are subtracted from Yami's life points.
Not what that card does, once again.
Well, as far as the anime goes.
Yeah, the actual Gorgon's Eye just negates the effects of defense position monsters for a turn.
Well, that's not thematically fun, ain't it?
I mean, Gorgon's Eye doesn't have anything to do with tunes. That was the theme that was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
It couldn't be goofy eyes.
big cartoony goofy eye turning shit to stone. It'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
But regardless, we will keep getting tunes as Pegasus then plays the doppelganger card that he had face down, which takes the form of Summon Skull, which then turns into Toon Summon Skull, or Toon Demon in the manga, thanks to Toon World. The Toon Fiend destroys Yami's defense monster, sending his life points down to 900. Yami's field is wiped as Pegasus' field is swarmed with ways to keep Yami down, as far as Toon World with Toon Mermaid, Manga Rioran, now Toon Summon Skull. You have the Gorgon's Eye. It's just, there's a lot of things that Yami can't do. Yami draws Dark Magician, which Pegasus is already aware of. You kind of blame Yami for not feeling hopeless at this point. Get back to the idiot and evil Bakura, who are running around trying to find a way out as Tristan almost falls to his death, damn it. As there is an exit to a ledge outside, which, why is that there? They are trapped as evil Bakura gets them out with, I don't know, card magic or something. Bullshit. We go back to Yami trying to figure out what he could do to get out of this mess. Pegasus is just messing with Yami as he reads his mind and knows the strategies. He's starting to really feel hopeless. I think he even mentions in the manga, Pegasus does, I should say, that I can feel your dual spirit dwindling, your fighting spirit, like it's ebbing and dwindling. So it's kind of really getting in Yami's head. But fear not, because the cheerleading squad reminds Yami of friendship and what they are fighting for. Yami is revitalized with hope, remembering why he can't get up as we end the episode. What will our young Yugi boy do against such odds? And that's kind of where we actually end the first 2 episodes of the final match. Not necessarily very interesting as far as it will be, but it's a good start. And I think what it does do well is really show that kind of difference between Pegasus and Yami as we're kind of getting in, this does have to be a challenge for Yami. He can't just win it easily. So it is nice to know that we are narratively getting some differentials from Pegasus and Yami in terms of dueling strength and how that kind of gets flipped around in the next few episodes when we cover that next episode.
Yeah, overall, I think these episodes are good, even if they did feel a bit quick on the watch. There wasn't as much of a character growth bit as they had in the Yugi versus Mai. There wasn't as much behind the scenes stuff that was involved with the Kaiba versus Pegasus, but I think it's good. I like them. They're good duels.
I think you could have done this in 1 episode, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
This is kind of my issue with these episodes is we're now doing this Tristan B plot with Evil Bakura, which was stuff that was done from the literal night before the dueling finals going into the final matches. This could have been B plot you could have been using while Mai was dueling Yugi and Joey was dueling Bandit Keith, because Tristan in the manga doesn't come back until after that Bandit Keith Joey duel, and then he's back and he's there being a sideline character. I guess they really need to find something for Tristan to do, and I mean he is doing it, so I don't understand why it's finding something for him to do. But I understand Teia's the sideline support character for the most part, the emotional support character for Yugi. Joey is not only a duelist who does things in the manga or just the story in general, but also Yugi's best friend, the guy. He is the man with Yugi. Tristan is literally there.
Yeah.
And he's always going to be there. Even Bakura has a justifiable reason to be a Yugi friend, but also be in the story. So I get that you have nothing to do with Tristan, but you can keep him as a sideline character as well. And then just, get on with the Pegasus and Yugi duel.
Yeah. Every friend squad has one of these: protagonist, best friend, cheerleader, secretly evil, and Tristan.
So, it is what it is. I think this could have this could have been 1 episode, and then maybe this duel could have been a 4-parter. Or you could have at least maybe done all that beginning Bakura, Tristan stuff before the duel started. Like they spent half the first episode getting ready to duel as opposed to, you know, dueling. I think only like it starts happening in like the last 10 minutes of the episode. So it's just kind of, I don't know, could have been laid out a little differently. Again, not an animation team, so I guess I don't have that leg to stand on. But narratively, could have been a little better. But, you know, it's a good start. And I think it's going to only get better as we move along with Duel.
And we get to see Toon summon Skull, and I love that freak.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. I think behind Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, he is probably my favorite of the Toons.
I'm glad you bring that up because there's something that I noticed the other day that I thought would be a fun thing to mention. And being that this is a shorter episode for us, this felt like the time.
Okay.
So, Pegasus loves his funny little Toon monsters. I love them too. So do all of you. Do you know that there are more Toon monsters that were added to the game?
Yeah, I did know that actually. Like they do add Toon cards to the meta.
Did you know that those Toon cards that were added, not all of them, but most of them, are cards that were used by the Duelist Kingdom finalists?
Really? That kind of makes sense. I assume you're talking about things like Red Eyes Black Dragon, maybe Harpy Lady.
Toon Red Eyes, Toon Harpy Lady, Toon Dark Magician, Toon Blackluster Soldier, and Toon Barrel Dragon.
Oh, I gotta look up Toon Barrel Dragon. Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah, he's a rootin' Toon little freak.
He kind of looks like a good mixture of what the censor is, but also what the original card looks like. That's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah, instead of, they sort of like used the laser lines that were added on to him and turned it into making him like one of those little like soft foam ball launchers.
I forgot that I do remember Toon Dark Magician, but I've kind of forgot about it. There's also, there's Toon Blackluster Soldier. I know there's a Toon Dark Magician girl.
Toon Blackluster Soldier, I do want to point out, has eyes on his helmet as well as inside them.
Oh yeah, I can see that right now. I just pulled him up. It's kind of funny. He looks wiggly.
Yeah, he's a funny little guy.
164. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, some of these are expensive.
I do have Toon Dark Magician Girl. I know I have that somewhere.
Yeah, I got one too. Got it from a pre-release event for a set way back in the day.
I think I was there too. I think we went to that together. I think we went to that together. Ah, the memories. But that's kind of where we leave off with the show at this point. As we're moving along, we are going to take next episode which is episode 10 for us, to finish off the Yugi versus Pegasus duel, which is arguably the biggest duel in the season. So it's nice that we're rounding off in 10 episodes with that.
Yeah, all primed and efficient for the viewers out there to be able to binge it on a road trip or in a manic state, laying face down on your mattress. One of the two.
While watching the show, of course, please support the official broadcast.
Yeah, and also support us. Cheer our names in the street.
That'd be
great.
People
know what you care about.
Yeah. Two guys talking about an early 2000s anime about card games.
Is this technically a 90s anime?
No, I see. If you were talking about the original, so I think if we're talking about the Toei animation one, yeah, we could say that. But if we're talking about Duel Monsters or however you want to call it, that came out in 2000. April 18th, 2000 was the first beginning of the original run. And then it looks as though, oh wait, no, that's Capital Monsters. I'm looking at something else. But yeah, that's the first episode came out in Japan on April 18th, 2000, and it came out in America a year later. A little over a year later, I should say. April 2000 for Japan, September 29th, 2001 for America. Yeah.
Only 90s kids remember this early 2000s thing that no one shut up about.
Oh my god, it was so popular back in the day, for sure. I think a lot of us were huge fans of it at the time. So,
did they ever have a float in the parade?
Well, like the Thanksgiving parade?
Yeah, that's the one.
Let's see. I would doubt it because I feel like as of late no, it doesn't look like it. I know Goku was one and Luffy was just recently another one. So, I don't know.
After Googling Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanksgiving Parade, Seeing the first response being a 19-second video saying Thanksgiving Parade Part 11, The Minions, I think I'm done with the internet for today.
There's Pikachu, there's Goku, there's Luffy was this past year or whatever we're recording at. So, you know, I think anime is only not just now, but like in the last like 10 years has really made its impact in American culture in a more widespread way than it ever has. Like I feel like when we were growing up and watching anime, it was a little more like
it was a niche thing.
Yeah, more niche, not in a bad way. You know, if you had your own ways to access it, it was not as easy. Like you didn't have like I know some people aren't huge Crunchyroll people, but Crunchyroll is a very easily accessible way to get your anime. But you didn't have that. You had Toonami.
You had Toonami. You had videos that were like split into 3 parts for an episode on YouTube where it'd be like half the frame.
You had Linkin Park AMVs.
Love the Linkin Park AMVs.
That's one of the ways I literally found Linkin Park through like I think a Sonic the Hedgehog AMV when I was like 9 or 10 years old. So
nice.
It is what it is. That's literally how I found in the end. So, but that's kind of but you still even then didn't really get like the full scope of it. And this is kind of like something I want to someday talk about with you about 4Kids. It's just like, yeah, you get these interesting dubs, and the more accessible ones are these 4Kids dubs that are questionable in dialogue and delivery and translations and censoring. So I think sometimes that stuff hindered, but we get back there.
Yeah.
I'm still someone who's very much like, as we go on through this series, makes me wish that someday whatever studio is doing Yu-Gi-Oh, or if they can get one of the more major studios, maybe not Mappa because but one of the more well-known studios, or even if it is the studio that is currently doing Yu-Gi-Oh, because it's not Studio Gallop anymore, it's someone else. I can't remember the name right now, and I could look it up, but
yeah, we'll get there in like 18 years or something when we cover it.
Yeah, are we gonna go into sevens and whatever the other one is?
Let's see how old we are when that comes around.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Let's see if we're in a home.
Oh God. Studio Bridge. That's who it is. I just found it. But I think I've padded enough time. But yeah, but my whole point is I wish or hope someday they do reanimate this Yu-Gi-Oh series on the one condition, and this is my one condition, that all the voice actors for the English version come back, or just about all of them, because I don't think I could do it without the Joey Brooklyn accent. I don't think I could do it without the Pegasus voice actor, because I think he was great, or someone like that. I think the voice actor for Yugi I think his name's Dan Green.
Dan Green?
I believe his name is Dan Green. I'm going to look it up to make sure.
I know they all show up periodically at some different tournaments and do sort of like the voices for scripted duels, which are all very cool. You can find them on the YouTubes.
It is Dan Green, by the way. Yeah, that's actually how I found I wanted to do, like, back when I was in college. You were not in college, but we were, still bros. That there were like Dark Magician cards in the meta that were actually like playable and usable. I really I tried to get the Dark Magic Circle, I think it was the card.
Yeah, that card's really good.
So, I mean, I remember trying to do that. But yeah, Dan Green is the voice actor for Yugi and Yami. And so if those people need to come back for me to want to be on board with that, because I think they all brought I think they're easily the best part of the Yu-Gi-Oh dub, is they are all great voice actors, and they all bring their own spice to the character that I think is very unique and I think is irreplaceable. But I do hope one day they especially in the something near what the Dark Side Dimensions kind of animation would be. That'd be kind of cool. And you just do from before the Duel Monsters, get into the Duel Monsters, the show, you can trust that people are going to watch it. Go into the Duel Monsters and maybe skip the Seal of Orichalcos and whatever that one tournament after the Seal of Orichalcos stuff is, and go right into Millennium World and do it all proper. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and all we need is for you, the viewers, to bother the shit out of Konami and tell them to let these two freaks on the internet be the directors for their show.
Or I guess oversee the production. Yeah, move us to Japan to oversee the production. Let two young white guys tell Japan what to do.
Finally, I am huge in Japan.
Finally, yes. I feel like that's kind of a little bit of colonialism, but in a bad way.
Yeah, it's not so great.
Huh. Dan Green was Entei in Pokemon Movie 3.
Oh, good for him.
No shit.
And the guy who did Kaiba, he was Brock.
Oh.
I think he's still involved in 4Kids from a directorial perspective.
I don't think 4Kids is a thing
Or what it
anymore.
became, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's 4Kids anymore, but I think it's something different now.
Eric Stewart, what's he up to? Is this good podcasting for all you out there?
You guys liking this? Y'all turn it off yet? It's filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, but they emerged from it. They shut down operations. Founded a successor company called Kid Tages Entertainment in 2019. You learn about 4Kids right now.
Huh. Looks like Shaman King got a reboot that he was a voice actor on.
Yeah, Shaman King I think is on Netflix.
Weird.
I did see that though. Yeah, anyway, all right. Well, we've talked enough about it. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on the episodes we did cover before we sign off?
I think these episodes are good. I don't think they're the best we've seen, but I like what we see in them.
I will say the Joey Yugi duel was better than these first two episodes with Pegasus and Yugi, but I think the best is yet to come with that duel. I will reiterate that I do really like how well they were able to handle the essence of the Yu-Jo friendship with Yugi and Joey in that duel. And while it is just the best of combos, it is done in a way where I felt entertained and I was very much enjoying that duel. So that's really cool. And, with the Pegasus Yugi duel, I think we're going to get a little better. I think once part 3 happens and then going to part 5, I think that's where the real shit happens. But this is a good kind of like appetizer for that.
Yeah. I'd agree with everything you said there. And the audience will too, because I know what they think, because I control their thoughts.
We're not out of touch, you are. So do you want to plug your socials now, like you do at the end of every episode?
Oh, I'd love to. The people out there can find me on the internet at twitch.tv/PhoenixFarce and youtube.com/PhoenixFarce. That's PhoenixFarce. There you can find me playing video games somewhat regularly, doing games such as Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, Marvel Snap, MTG Arena, and more. Mostly playing those card games, sometimes breaking into other stuff. That is a great place to find me and support me. Support the YouTube. It's much easier and has all the videos I've ever done, whereas Twitch only has like a 2-month backlog before it just wipes it. Where can people find you? Not in the real world, in the interworld.
You can find me on the social media, Papasergi, Pappassergi on Instagram. I'll be posting whatever creative stuff I like to post. I'll post some Kuribros stuff. I'll post some music stuff. I'll post some art stuff. I'm really getting back into digital drawing. I did the cover for our show, and I'm hoping to get better at that so I can make even better title cards for the show. And you can find us on Kuribros on Instagram at the Kuribros, or Instagram is Kuribros. On Twitter, it's the Kuribros, and we have a link tree to all the podcasts and all those social media sites, and we'll hopefully have a few more as we go on. But all those links are in any of the descriptions of the podcasts that you're listening to. So yeah. Well, it seems we talked your ear off enough. Let's sign off now. My name is Andy.
I'm Phoenix.
Giddy up and goodbye.
No matter what.